This is episode 130 of the Lost Trail Runner Podcast. This podcast has been dragging on in my mind for months. I keep, going, I need to do the podcast, and I never do it. It's like procrastination plus or something, because I just lost motivation there, and I'm really sorry. And I haven't been doing a whole lot of trail running lately. I did a little over 3 miles yesterday out at Stone Mountain on the Indian Island loop that I run. It's not really a loop. It's out and back with a loop at the end when I run it as a loop. Yesterday I just did an out back. I went out a little over 1.5 miles and turned around and came back. And it's not a quarantine. You're not, relegated to staying in the house, but most people are anyway. Stone Mountain wasn't that crowded. Everybody that was out there was exercising because all the attractions are closed except for the golf course. And so I ran into probably 5 people, maybe, on my run. And, of course, you kind of avoid them. You run around them, which is kind of strange, just really strange. But that's life nowadays. I basically go out of the house a couple of days, maybe 3 days a week to run. I go to the grocery store when I have to. And then I'm in the house the rest of the time. Today I went out in the backyard and cranked up my little drone, my Tello, and just practiced flying it around the backyard, which is fun. And then I did my bike trainer ride. So tomorrow I have a ride scheduled at 2:30 on Zwift. It's a group ride with a group from the UK. And I originally had a virtual race, 5K race for tomorrow, but I think I'm going to move it till Saturday morning to be more in line with when most of my races really are. So the group ride I'm doing on Zwift tomorrow was an easy, I think it's 1.5 how do they do it? Kilograms per, I don't know, whatever. It's 1.5 watts per kilogram. That's what it is, which means the bike ride will probably be in around the 10 to 15 mile an hour range. And the rules on the ride are everybody stick together. So we'll see how that goes. And they got me to download a app where you can actually carry on, I think, I'm not sure, you can actually carry on a conversation with the people that you're riding with. So we'll see how that goes. So it's 12:52 a.m. on Friday morning now, while I'm recording this, and I have some stuff that I recorded a couple days ago that I'm going to put on this podcast, and maybe we can get 15 or 20 minutes out of it. I'm not really going to try to do a long one. Just getting back in podcasting mode will be good for me. I don't have to push it. I just need to get started, and maybe I can start getting to be consistent if I do it that way. So I'll finish this thing up tomorrow, maybe. I've got it on my list of things to do, and then if I do finish it up, I'll get it out to you. I've got a short public service announcement I'm going to play for you that I received. And I'm sure you've heard this stuff before, but it's good to have in your mind about COVID-19. So here it is.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19.
Furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters and this podcast.
Well, it's been a long time again since I've talked to you, so I guess it's time, don't you think? I started working on this podcast on February 22nd, and it is now March 22nd, a month ago. How about that? And I didn't get much accomplished, but I have a few things to talk about. For those of you that follow fell running, that's a sport over in Great Britain, running up and down the peaks and valleys in the Lake District. I've been listening to an excellent podcast called Bob Graham Sounds. It's a podcast series about prepping to do the Bob Graham round over in England, which is a 66-plus mile run that summits 42 peaks in the Lake District, with the goal of completing it in less than 24 hours, actually. And that podcast has 12, 13, 14 episodes. It's basically the person that's doing it did the whole series and then put it out as a podcast in episodes. And on the extra mile, or the extra day, and it's also the extra mile, of February, I did the extra mile virtual run that Kevin Gwynn put on from the Extra Mile podcast. I ran the Run the Reagan in Snellville, Georgia, the 5K version of it. They've got a half marathon, a 10K, and a 5K, and I'm in 5K mode right now, so that's what I ran. And I actually had a decent run. The past 2 5Ks I've done have been the fastest 2 I've done in about 3 or 4 years, probably. We're still not talking fast. I'm 78 years old. We're talking, I did a 34:31, which comes out to 11:05, something in that range. But anyway, there were 6 people in my age group, and I won it, so I felt pretty good about it. I don't feel so hot about winning an age group when I'm the only person in it, but if there's 5, 6 people, then I feel like maybe I've done something, you know. So I ended up winning that, and that was the last race that I have run. I was supposed to run the Star Wars Arrivals 10K at Disney on April 18th, and of course Disney's completely shut down because of the virus, and I got an email this last week from Run Disney saying the race was also canceled on the 18th. So there went that whole training plan down the drain. My next scheduled race is Peachtree in July, so hopefully all this stuff will have cleared up and there's still enough people left in the world that can run it, you know. I don't know. So, and I've been using my bike trainer and Zwift for my cross training, and I really like Zwift. I don't know if you know what that is. It's a program that's like streaming, and you sign up for it. It costs about $14, $15 a month, and it has virtual courses, and you ride them, and other people ride them, and you can ride with people and all that kind of stuff. Have group rides, whatever you want to, in a virtual environment, which I really think is pretty neat. I haven't ridden with anybody, but I have been riding pretty consistently about 3 days a week and trying to get in at least 8 to 10 miles each time I run. Ride. Trying to get in at least 25 miles a week, which doesn't seem like a high mileage to somebody that's a bike rider, but for me, I'm just trying to get in 25 or over, and since I'm doing this cross training, I'm trying to get in at least a half hour each time I do it. Sometimes when I go over a little bit to get 10 miles, I might get close to 40 minutes, but I'm usually right around between 30 and 40. And I'm really getting into it. I've probably got close to 250 miles in it right now for the year on Zwift alone. And since that virus outbreak, I've been staying indoors more, and the bike trainer is a real help with the staying fit and getting my cross training in. So I'm going to try to keep running my schedule, but I'm going to talk to my coach and see if I can just go to a maintenance type schedule until 8 or 10 weeks before Peachtree, and then start training again, because I just right now I'm not feeling longer runs. Like today was supposed to be an 8-mile run, and what I basically did is I came out here to Stone Mountain. Oh, I'm sitting in my car basically after my walk. I walked up the mountain, around and back down, and got in a little over 2 miles in 45 minutes going up and down. So I did that instead of running 8 miles. So I'm bad. So my Disney race, like I said, has been canceled. And I really should have done that 8 miles today. There really wasn't a reason not to do it. I mean, we're not quarantined to our house or anything, but it's so, I don't know. I guess it's just the whole overall mood that I've gotten in with this virus thing, and being a geezer, and everybody's saying if you're older than such and such, you're going to keel over if you get it, you know. So even though my physical age, according to Garmin and these other apps that calculate that for you, it says I'm 52, my physical age is 78, which is up there. And the less chances I take, the better off I am, is my way of looking at it. So I'll just flow with it. That's why I kind of want to talk to Chris Twiggs and change my schedule to just kind of maintenance. That way I don't have any pressure to go out and do long runs. I can just do shorter ones and feel happy about it, you know. And do my bike training, which I want to up. Maybe I've been doing it about 3 days a week, but I'd really like to add another day or two and up my mileage from 25 to, you know, like 50 or something. And I think that'll keep my aerobics up. And I'm doing Maffetone basically, and I got the MAF app on my phone, and the MAF app calculated what my MAF range would be, and it's supposed to be like 97 to 107 is my range that I did stay in, or maybe 97 to 87, I don't know, right at 97 anyway. And doing Zwift, I've been trying to keep my heart rate pretty steady at 100, so I should be able to maintain or build my aerobic fitness by doing this, particularly when I start increasing my rides and get more bass in those rides in at 100 RPM. I mean 100 beats per minute. So, well, I'm going to shut this mic off and drive home. And, I've got a Kinetic road machine. That's what my bike sets on to do my workouts. And it does connect with Zwift as far as for heart rate, cadence, speed, all that sort of stuff. But it doesn't do any elevation or any of that kind of stuff. So I ordered, Kinetic had an upgrade package where you can just buy the freewheel and the electronics part that fits on the road machine frame, and it was a lot cheaper than buying a new road machine that does all the other stuff. So I got it. It was on sale for 30% off, and I think it cost me like $297, I think, instead of close to $400. And all I've got to do is take off. I've got a fluid drive on the back now, and all I've got to do is unbolt that, take that off, and put the new drive on, which I believe has to be plugged into the wall. I think it's electric. And it will sync with Zwift, and it will adjust my resistance based on the incline of the hill you're going up on Zwift. So if you're going up a 4% hill, it's going to adjust your resistance to be, like a 4% hill on up. And I think the highest it goes is maybe 10%, but it doesn't raise the bike up or down, but it does change the resistance, the hardness that you have to pedal. So that'll give me a more realistic workout with Zwift, that's what I'm shooting for. And I've got a Mac Mini with a big Philips flat screen monitor. I think it's maybe 27 or 32 inch monitor, and I might swap that out with the laptop I'm using right now so I have a bigger display for my Zwift training. It'll be more into the environment that way. Anyway, what I say, I was going to turn this off and go home, so that's what I'm going to do. I'll talk to you after a while, okay? Bye. Well, that's about it for this podcast, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up and get ready to send it out to you. I hope you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you haven't already. See you later. Bye.
Hey, thanks for listening to today's podcast. We'll be here next time. Keep the emails coming in and be sure to subscribe.